the mics on here.
Yes.
Is there a volume to turn it down just a tiny bit? I don't know who to ask. Thank you.
They are on it. And so if you're here on Barnes & Noble's on the third floor, we encourage you to stop by to hear from some of our wonderful speakers today. So, okay, amazing. So everyone, welcome. My name is Alicia Magnus Lewis. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer at the Los Angeles Tribune, and I am here with my dear colleague, Donna Campbell, who is the Executive Vice President of the Los Angeles Tribune Film Division. And we're here with you today for a very special program that is called Beyond the Pages, Visionary Voices. And so today you're going to hear with people that are here to inspire you to live a life beyond what you can imagine, because there's so much more that the world can offer us than we can really imagine. And so it is such a delight and honor to be here and to be hosting Marie Diamond, who is our special guest here with us today. So Donna, what are you thinking about today as we kick off Visionary Voices in Focus?
All of the things that we really, truly manifest for in our lives, the things that we truly want to have, the future we want to see for ourselves. But the secret along that is it's not outside of you, it's within you. And so one of the things I often think about is your future is not 2 months down the road, 4 months down the road. It is right here and now. Because if you are not creating it here in this very second, for the next second, to the next second, to the next second, you're just sitting around waiting. So I often think about manifesting and creating your future, but you're creating it now, in this moment.
I love that. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. I would love to sit down now here with my first special guest. And our first special guest today is actually Donna Campbell. So Donna Campbell is an author. She is a speaker. She is a film producer. And she's also a woman that worked in finance for a very long time. But she is also a healer, and she has healed through her global healing practice all around the world. And so just a few years ago, Donna wrote an amazing book, and it's called The Abundant Soul. And so today we are going to talk about the abundant soul and talk about part one of her series, because her second book is actually coming out this year in 2025. But part one of the Abundant Soul series is all about creating inner wisdom for financial success. So Donna, I mean, you've healed, you've worked all around the world, you've trained all around the world. What is it that really inspired you to sit down and write The Abundant Soul? And I have to say, write it while you were traveling around the world, because you were literally traveling around the world when you were writing this book.
I was. And the fun part about this is with The Abundant Soul, it was really a self-help novel taking the healing principles that I learned in the healing world with the financial principles that I learned when I was a financial advisor and a managing principal of an investment firm. And I was responsible at that time for $500 million of other people's money. So you learn a lot about money, but then when you apply it to healing, you realize that there's an intrinsic worth or intrinsic value to your internal wealth. And so what I wanted to do was take my first book, which was called Financially Fit, and translate it into a self-help novel so it was relatable to every single person, so you could have those aha moments and go, wait, that was me, or I was in that situation too. And then you can see how the main character, Crystal, moves through the story for her own self-healing to really create that inner wisdom for financial success.
That's so amazing. And The Abundant Soul, it follows the story of Crystal, right? But it is almost it's a fictionalized experience, but it's so deeply rooted in real life experiences. So curious here, why did you decide to write more of a fictional book to share the life lessons that Crystal comes to learn along her journey? And how has that resonated with your audience?
Well, what was fun with developing the character Crystal is that each and every one of the characters are inside of us, and we're all aspects of them. And by the character development, we're able to follow the storyline, but as she goes through the different things, the actual opening scene starts with a car crash. How many of you have ever been in a car crash? right? So we wanted it relatable and for people to resonate with the book. And then as she goes through her healing journey, what happens to her financially. And so some of the spiritual principles you'll learn with money is how you think and feel about yourself is how money responds to you in life. So if we don't feel like we're worthy or we're enough on the inside, chances are you don't have enough money in your bank account to fund your goals. And so there's a direct one-to-one correlation that I've learned about over the last 20 years, and that's a relatable principle. So if I was just to say, here's, topic number one, and this is what we're going to talk about, you understand it, but when you read it through story format, you can actually identify with it. So it is a fictional book, but yet it relates to each and every one of us because our aspects are all in it.
I love that. And Donna, today we have a very special guest with us, Marie Diamond, right?
I'm excited.
I know you've read her book, Your Home is a Vision Board.
On a plane.
Yes, I know you have her app. You've used the compass. And I've seen your office, right? And so you've made some shifts in your office after engaging with Marie's work and using her compass. So can you talk a little bit about some of the shifts that you've made in your own space and how you feel like that's inspired you as you've worked on part 2 of the Abundant Soul series?
Yes. So one of the things that I actually learned from Marie was not only like in money, how you think and feel about yourself is how money responds to you in life. How you think and feel about yourself spills over into your home environment. And where you live, how you live, where you have it decorated, what's in this corner or what's not, has an impact because you have a direct energy alignment with it. And I just remember one of the pieces of advice that Marie said was, put an amethyst crystal in this part of your office and it will magnify your success corner. So the very next day I dragged not a tiny crystal, but a 223-pound geode into my office and put it there. And then from that moment forward, my entire life changed because I followed her one abundance principle. So it really sets it up for the next book that will be coming out. It's Harnessing the Mind's Power for Mental Wellness because, of course, your character has to have more trials and tribulations. So we'll talk about mental health in that book.
I love that. And I think it's just a testament to the power of making one small or heavy, in your case, shift, right?
Go big.
Your space.
Just go big or go home.
Right? Go big or go home. It is a gorgeous amethyst crystal that is in your office, but it really has shifted and it has expanded the vibration. And so when you think about shifts, when you think about transformation, they can feel heavy sometimes, right? Because it's encouraging people to change an aspect of their life or to carry something literally heavy up into a new space. What are some of the principles that Crystal has learned along her journey that are kind of subtle hints about how she can transform, but still very impactful for her?
That's a great question because I know this is the first book and my mind is, my next book's coming out here within 30 days. Some of the different things in the financial world was money is very much emotional. And when you get into an energy of anger or resentment, or you're in that pure frustration, or you're struggling, you're going to keep recreating that over and over and over. And when we started here, I talked about manifesting. This moment's creating your next moment, your next moment, your next moment. So if you're in those moments of struggle and sacrifice, you're creating that for your future. And so one of the things Crystal has to go through is learning how to get good on the inside of who she is. She meets another character by the name of Sita, who is modeled after a medicine woman that I studied with, and who really gets her good and grounded in the heart space, only to realize it was already within her, and realize that, well, if I'm in that moment of joy or in that moment of happiness or lightness, that creates my future moments. So the struggle and the sacrifice isn't there anymore. You're in the lighter energies, and if you're in the lighter energies, manifesting happens 20,000 times faster because it goes light speed across the universe and back.
I love that. And if Crystal were to have Marie's compass, what do you think
That's a great question.
her colors would be? And what do you think that she would shift around in her space?
I know what my colors are. For some reason, when you asked that question, the very first thing that popped into my mind was green. And I don't know if that's on the color wheel or not, but it's a very, very healing color. But what's interesting is it's not in the book, in the second book, she does have a birthday. So we know her age and the actual day. So you know what? I'm going to actually look it up in the compass because I can do that.
I love that. And I think Crystal's journey, right? It's fictional. And so it helps a person understand the aspects of them maybe they don't want to see, but they would benefit from understanding so that they can continue to evolve. And I think Marie's compass and some of the concepts that are in Marie's books show you how you can actually take an active action that doesn't have to feel so overwhelming, like journaling, like moving things around in your space is very healing too, right? Because you might have stuck energy there that you can move simply by shifting your space around. And it shows that it's all connected, right? And there are so many different ways to transform, and there are so many different ways to kind of expand your own presence in this world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you go with the premise that everything is energy and your relationship to everything, even everything in this room, it's set up and designed in a certain way. So you'll be able to hear from Maria a little bit later on the importance of that. But as I have implemented all of the things that I've learned through her book and through our conversations, one thing after another just changes and it just keeps going. And now people are like, how do you get this all done? And you're like, it just is. And I'm like, maybe because I just put in the right energy flow by reading the book. That could be very, very probable.
I love that. And so what would you like to leave everyone that has joined us here today? And I know that people have traveled and they drove in LA traffic and it was hot out here to be here. But about Crystal, as she goes into part 2 of her journey in the first book, they may not have read the first book, but some of these principles are timeless, whether they read them in the book or they hear them right now. So what would you want people to understand from some of the things that you have been thinking about as you have been actively writing part 2, as you continue to travel around the world?
There's a mantra that starts off in this book, and it says, trust and you will see, believe and you will know, have faith, all is well. Follow your heart and spirit will lead you. And there was a time in my life where it was very turbulent, and that was a mantra that I wrote for myself that I openly share with the world now to get myself through those hard times. And by following those principles, trust and you will see, believe and you will know, have faith, all is well. Follow your heart and spirit will lead you. Wisdom comes when you do. So in the second book, coming out, Harnessing the Mind's Power for Mental Wellness, there is a different mantra in the beginning of the book, and you will find as you read the story how that mantra pertains to Crystal's life and how she integrates it and what she does with it. And the same for the second book. There's 3 more books after this that will be coming out, and they will each have their own special mantra for each of the different topics we go through.
I love that. And Donna, what haven't you shared yet about the entire kind of experience of writing The Abundant Soul? I think a common thread that is a nuanced one, I would imagine, is that you've literally written different chapters of the books in different areas of the world. And so what is something that you haven't kind of shared with us here today that you would like us to know, and maybe from the perspective of traveling globally while you've been writing it?
That I found the words translate across all cultures and all times and resonates to all of the people because we're looking at it from a universal perspective. And I'm going to say that as a writer, like Shakespeare, you are the author of the book, but you're also an aspect of the character of the book. But then when you're writing, you go, oh, this person kind of reminds me about this friend I have, so I'll put this one element in. And then over time, the characters just take on their own life form, but yet they're still you, they're still me, but they're their own energy and their own entity. So it's like being in all and the aspect of all at the same time.
Wow. Being in all and in the aspect of all at the same time. That's really, really good. I'm curious. If Crystal were to ask Marie Diamond a question, what do you think it would be?
Ooh, that is a great question. In the second book, do you guys want a little prequel?
Just
She
a little
has a
bit.
moment, she destroys her house from the inside out, trying to get out. So when Marie is up here, she can answer that. What would be the very first thing you would tell somebody to start rebuilding their house on the inside after they are done sweeping up the glass all around? What would be one positive change to move forward?
That is a great question. We're going to have to remember to ask Marie that in a little bit because that is actually a very, very fascinating question to ask about the rebuild.
Yes. I did not think about that writing the book, so that might have to be in book number 3.
You're still writing the book. I think there's time. We'll see. Amazing. So for those of you that have been listening, what, if any, are some questions that you have with Donna and with the character Crystal that she wrote about in the book, The Abundant Soul? Misty, I would love to start with you. What is a question that you would want to ask Donna about her book, The Abundant Soul?
How does the Abundant Soul help business owners?
Ooh, I like that.
Well, Crystal, of course, being a corporate trainer like many of us were before we moved into the world of entrepreneurship, goes through the different changes a corporation would go through and have to navigate all of those different things. And you're really trading your time for money when you're working for a particular place. So really, what and how can we use those principles to really step out of that, step out of the what people call the rat race or the grind, to really start living your life on purpose and leave the job at the job, home at home, and really start going on that healing path and that journey.
I love that. That is so beautiful. We have time for one more question here. So, Tiffany, what is a question you would want to ask Donna about the Abundant Soul?
If someone was in a scarcity mindset, how could they shift out of it?
That's a very, very long answer to a very simple question. But real quickly, to give you an idea, and one of the techniques that Crystal actually learns is a breathing technique. And so if you're in a scarcity mindset, what is the opposite of that? You might want to think of plentifulness. So you're just going to breathe, and when you breathe in oxygen, all the good things your body needs. So you're going to breathe in the word plentiful or abundance. And you're going to bring about the word sacrifice. And you're going to just breathe in and breathe out while you're thinking that for a good 3 to 5 minutes. And then that will give you a physiological change in your body. Sacrifice starts leaving and the abundance starts coming in.
Thank you so much, Donna. Oh, we have one quick question from Crystal.
How do you think writing The Abundant Soul has allowed your voice to become more abundant as a
That means it's going to be a good answer.
That
She
should
had to
be.
clear her throat.
Can you ask that one more time?
How do you think authoring The Abundant Soul has allowed your voice to become stronger as an individual?
How your voice becomes stronger, not in this moment, I need some water, is that when you have the words and they're all in your head, and then you have the ability to write them in a story format and actually ground them, then it anchors them to the earth. And when it anchors them to the earth, what I have found is, is the ability then to start speaking those words. One moment. And then when you start speaking those words, what happens next is you can go out, you can share the principles, you can speak in front of audiences, and then you can start transforming the audience as a group instead of one person at a time, because you have the strength to say it. And I think by writing, you have the ability to anchor to the earth, ground it, and then you start speaking it, and then your voice, because there's vibration and frequency to it, can act as divine healing, and words matter, and the intention and the undertone with them. So I think by writing it, it gives you the permission to move forward in speaking it.
And as she spoke those words, her voice got more clear, and that was the embodiment of her answer. Thank you so much, Donna. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing. And so next we're going to hear from someone very special. Her name is Tiffany Cano, and she is the producer of the upcoming film produced by the Los Angeles Tribune called The Pillars of Power. And Marie Diamond is one of the headliners in the Pillars of Power. And so, Tiffany, it's amazing for you to be here joining with us. You just came out with a brand new book. You are a healer, you are a film producer, and you're also in some upcoming films. And so, as we get started today, I would love for you to share, as you have come across Marie Diamond's work, how has it expanded your mindset or expanded how you approach your space in your home?
When I first met you, Marie, my impression was, oh, she's like a Julie Andrews. She has this grace and this like queenly qualities and just like the spiritual essence just like oozes out of you. And I was like, I love that. and the fact that I get to be in multiple movies with you is even more inspiring to just. And then as you were holding my book, Sacred Body, Sacred Soul, and we took some pictures on the red carpet, and I was like, maybe I should keep this book and not let it be sold, because I could just feel the essence that, you know, just by you holding it was infusing into it.
I love that. And Marie's does radiate, I have to say. She definitely just has a beautiful energy to you. Definitely have a beautiful energy to you. And so, Tiffany, you just came out a new book, and you've talked about how your book was inspired by a download, and it was channeled. And it comes at an interesting point in time, right? Because you are a healer. You bring together a community on the weekends for 3-day sessions where you bring in different healers and coaches to help people along their journeys. But you're also in the midst of producing this film, The Pillars of Power, with individuals such as Marie Diamond and Sharon Lecter and Ken Honda and Brian Tracy and Dame Doria Cordova and Dr. Joe Vitale. And so you've been around, right? So many amazing and beautiful messages and so many amazing and beautiful healers, and you've been inspired to write this book. So I'm kind of curious, right? This is kind of a long-winded question here, but I want to give people the kind of context of all of the things that you have going on in your life that were going on as you wrote this book. So how have your experiences played a role in how you have approached writing the book? Maybe not the words in the book just yet, because we're going to get there, but how you've even approached writing the book, given you've been around all of these kind of visionaries and luminaries and individuals that are really shifting consciousness around the world.
I've been blessed to be with spiritual teachers, holy masters, saintly people for most of my life. I mean, I've been clairvoyant my entire life. I've been able to heal since I was a small kid, getting paid for it since I was 8. And I love surrounding myself by high vibration people. And doing these movies, which first off, I had no desire in doing them, but I got the divine, you know, this could be good for you and to help, you know, humanity. So I let go of my resistance and just surrendered, and it was the best thing that I ever could have done. And then being on set with incredible people, meeting other movers and shakers is so inspiring. And it boosted my confidence even more, and it was a space that gave me permission to put myself out there in bigger ways than I had allowed myself to do up until that moment, which also included writing a solo book. I'd been in a couple of compilation books, but I still was hiding a bit. And then, you know, being on set and filming, I was like, okay, check the box, check that box. All right, yeah, I can totally do a book. And then when I received the whoosh of a download of something that I was teaching already in my embodiment program for conscious creation, love, and empowerment, which was a whole series on self-love and self-compassion, that's when the whoosh came. It needs to be in a book.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people can relate to wanting to hide, right?
Oh, yeah.
It can be easy to want to do what you're doing.
Especially,
Just, in your own space, right? But there is something to be said about stepping up and taking more expanded space. So what kind of gave you the courage to do that as you were kind of navigating and moving around and being around other people? What gave you that courage?
when I notice that I'm feeling nervous, scared, pretty much any emotion, I give it to God. I empty and I give everything. I give all my love to God. I give my fears to God. I give my anger. I give everything. And I just empty out so that I can then be a better instrument, a better divine vessel. And as I'm doing that, then intuition comes, blessings come, downloads come, a fearlessness. When you're being of service and connecting from a higher spiritual place, the ego has no place for its fear. It's not, having that chatter, because that's not where you're connected to in the moment. Or at least that's how it's been for me. I'll just connect to my higher soul and source and then let that energy flow through. And teaching workshops for almost 3 decades now, actually since this body is now 48 years young. Yeah, it's been like 3 decades. And that's my practice. I meditate and I get empty.
I love that. So I'm curious because Marie's here. She's going to talk about her book, Your Home is a Vision Board. So as you've been writing, as you've been creating with all of these projects that you've been working on, have you made any changes to your space? And if not, are you curious about what could happen if you made some changes to your space?
Absolutely. Space matters. Every time, just even a simple house cleaning or decluttering, all of a sudden everything feels better, emotionally better, physically better, more energy, more vitality. And there are certain energetics in a space. Like even before I met you, Marie, Master Chokuksui was who I learned feng shui from back in my early 20s. And it made such a profound difference in my life. I mean, abundance, prosperity, openness to creativity all came forth when I would, use proper feng shui practices.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. So so your book came out, it actually came out just last week, right?
It did, it's brand new.
Sacred Body, Sacred Soul.
Yes.
What is it that you want people to be aware about in your book, in terms of how they can further connect with themselves?
It's a healing journey. I tried to keep it in kind of a workshop format, and it's simple. So every chapter looks at what is a subconscious wound, what are the beliefs, what are the chatter that's going on. And then I went through a series of those common ones, like for example, my worth is based on how I look, as like one possible phrase, and then going in and doing the deeper inner work around feeling valuable, feeling whole, feeling loved, feeling beautiful, no matter what your physical body temple looks and feels like. And it can be so healing, and every chapter has positive affirmations, there's spiritual practices, there's journal questions, there's an opportunity to go really, really deep within yourself to get aligned and at home and at peace within your own body temple.
I love that. So, peace is a simple word. It's only 5 words. But it can be fleeting, right? It can be something that people strive for, but it's hard to reach. So as people think about bringing more peace into their life, what are ways that they can open their expansiveness of how to connect with peace?
Pause, breathe. Allow any negative cords, negative attachments. I see them energetically. Every time you think, touch, talk, look at somebody, there's chords. Some of these chords are good, some of them are not so good. Some of them are very loving, some of them have fear and stress, and just being able to release those and come back to yourself without all of the noise. And I don't know about you guys, but I've grown up super empathic, what we would call an HSP, super or highly sensitive person, right? And so being able to feel energies, being able to hear and feel what people are thinking and feeling. And as a kid, I didn't know how to discern between what is my thoughts and feelings and what is somebody else's. And so through a very painful process, I learned how to have healthy energetic boundaries and get back to what is my peace place without all the noise and everybody else's thoughts and feelings sponged into my space.
Yeah.
And that was very empowering. And I teach a lot about that now.
That's what I can definitely resonate with that, and it makes me think of a question that I'm going to want to ask Marie later, because you talked about, there was a point in time where you couldn't figure out what was other people's stuff, their energy, and what was yours. And I'm curious if later on Marie could talk about how when we're walking into spaces or people have been in our space, how do we clear some of their energy out so that we can reconnect with our own space and our own energy here. I'm kind of curious, Crystal, what is a question that you have for Tiffany about connected to the sacredness of yourself, to your soul, and to peace? Because I know that's something that you kind of really connect with in your own work.
I would love to hear Tiffany's opinion on what it feels like when you have that intuitive hit versus the resistance in life. Like, how does she tune into those feelings and emotions, and when does she know when to avoid certain things?
Okay, so when we talk about intuition, I discern it between higher intuition, lower intuition, because we can feel things and think that it's intuition. So for example, when you're growing on your spiritual path and you're evolving, typically the gut feeling starts first. You feel it in your gut, and it's tangible. It's there's a visceral physical sensation that comes with it. But right here in your gut is also your solar plexus chakra, where a lot of stress and fear and stuff can also be very present. And that's why sometimes people think, oh, well, I feel it in my gut. And sometimes it's accurate and sometimes it's not, because it depends on how clean you are. Like if your solar plexus and navel chakra are very dirty, that doesn't necessarily mean that the message that you got was 100% accurate. So it might only be partially accurate. Then as people grow spiritually, their heart chakra becomes more open. And there's been so many studies with heart math, for example, which shows the intuition of your heart. And it starts to feel softer, more loving. The frequency of the messages are a little higher, more refined. And then as you get into higher intuitive faculties, like in your spiritual eye, your crown, etc., and you get those whispers from your soul, and it literally is like a whisper. And it takes attunement, it takes the ability to dive in within yourself without any filters to hear it and to take that divinely guided action on it.
That's good. It's like you can take the message, but how is the instrument before you actually receive that message? That is also something that I think we're going to want to ask Marie about in a little bit, about how you can kind of clear your space to actually connect with what yourself, your higher self, may be wanting to tell you, but you may have things in your space that are preventing you from actually getting that message or understanding that message clearly. Tiffany, it's been such a pleasure to have you here. I know that you're so intertwined with the work that Marie is doing on the Pillars of Power. Congratulations on your book. I know you have a couple of copies here for some of the guests that are here, and it also can be found online on barnesandnobles.com. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Thank you. The ebook is at Barnes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, I just wanted to say thank you, and that was amazing, Tiffany. And I know, Alicia, as we're getting ready here to bring up our next speaker, we do want to do a huge shout out to our online audience.
Yes.
Because they are here with us live virtually, and then we have over 500 live active people online with us. So give that a round of applause.
That's amazing.
Yes, I
Yeah.
wanted to share that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, we are connecting with people from all over because, we know that sometimes it's hard to get somewhere in person, but there are so many people that are connecting with visionary voices and that are here to tune in to all that Marie is doing and to all that our special guests are doing. So thank you so much for that. Now we're going to invite our next guest. His name is Art Geiser. He is the founder of Energetic NLP. He helps people connect with the magic in their lives, and he is someone that has really been working to help people understand kind of the magic within. And so Art, would love for you to share a little bit more about Energetic NLP is for those that may not be familiar, and what inspired you to go down the path that you've gone down with the work that you do, the videos that you've created, and the community that you've really garnered.
Well, thank you. And
Yep, you're on.
okay, there's really a lovely group energy here and from our speakers, and let's make it even better. So energy follows your thought and intentions, and let's imagine we're in a giant gold ball of energy, and that includes our live streamers. Well, thank you. And again, and people make energy work way too difficult. So let's just imagine we're in this space, and let's put a magnet up above the building. Let it clear any energies out of here that aren't for our really helping us. It's not that they're bad or wrong, but let's just let any energies go that aren't really moving us forward in life. And then just pretend all these beautiful colored energies are coming in that will help all of us, a whole symphony of energies, and whatever's important in your life, and clearing what blocks you and helping you move forward in your manifestation. So and don't try to do it right. The key to all this is imagination. If you were 5 years old and I said, fill this room with sparkling gold energy, I'd have to put sunglasses on. You wouldn't go, she's doing it better than I am, or am I doing it right? So just pretend you know how to do it, and a lot of you do, but just fill the room with beautiful energies and really let that divine love come in. There really is infinite divine love, and a good friend of mine once said, I just realized I have a belief there's only so much infinite divine love to go around. Well, there's actually infinite divine love. So just pretend you're absorbing it.
I love that. You talked about the gold glitter, and I was like, oh, glitter everywhere, right? I love glitter. And we're here, Marie Diamond is here, she's talking about your home is a vision board, but really the space around us,
Yeah.
and how, whether or not we're aware of it, the spaces that we're in are impacting us. So I'm kind of curious for you, Art, over time, how have you seen the space around you kind of evolve? And what impact do you think it's had on your life?
Incredible question, and it's so huge. I'm trying to think how to even answer it. One of my teachers years ago, when you realize the space around you isn't empty, it changes everything. When you realize you're always in an energy environment. So just as we're surrounded by air, and if there's pollutants in the air, some of them we notice, some of them we don't, and some of the worst ones we don't notice. In the same way, there's all kinds of energies around us all the time. And when you realize that you have agency, that you can change the energy environment you're in. And I'm really curious to hear more about Marie's methods for doing that. And it can be as simple as when you go home, imagine a magnet outside your house, and just give your spirit permission to clear the energies out that aren't helpful. And I would really highly suggest you don't go, negative energies be gone, or any of that. Because as soon as you do that, you're getting into judgment, you get into resistance. And you all know what you resist.
Persist.
Thank you. And what we say in energetic NLP is it's either your energy or it's not. If it's not your energy, it's either helpful or it's not. If it is your energy, it either belongs in present time or it doesn't. So we do a lot of work on, and I loved what Tiffany was saying, because so often people go, oh, I had this intuition. If you look at their energy, it's like, that's not even your energy. That's somebody else's thought in your space. In fact, if I, do you mind me just riffing off this?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sorry. Any emotional state that you have, you either have too often, like you're anxious a lot, or you're angry a lot, or you're depressed, or whatever it is, any emotion you have too often, or you don't respond to it well, it's not your energy. Other people's emotional energies are stuck in your energy field. There are energies from your ancestors, from everybody in your life, particularly the kind of people who'd be listening to this and are attracted to the kind of work that Marie does, and I do, and Tiffany and Donna, that we tend to be, we want to help other people, and unconsciously, like, I'm a sponge. Let me absorb all the energies from other people. Any of you relate to what I'm saying? And but what happens, and whether you do that or not, is you run other people's emotional energies. And real simple technique you can do, it's in the whole story, but it really helps if you in an emotional state, and when you're not trying to suppress it, you're trying to make it authentic. You can handle your authentic emotions. You can absolutely, whether it's grief, rage, any of it, what you can't handle is you're running other people's grief, other people's anger, other people's whatever. And a real simple thing that's very helpful is you just imagine the emotion comes out in front of you, and it's like a little ball of energy, and then you ground it to the earth. You give your spirit permission to drain out of it the energy that's not authentic. Well, even before that, say hello to it, acknowledge it, and then just imagine like a waterfall of energy is draining out the inauthentic energy, and then you bring it back in and absorb your authentic emotion. And if you do that about 3 times, you won't necessarily not have the emotion, because that's not the goal, but whatever the emotion it is, it'll either change or you'll be able to go, I can handle it. I mean, I worked with a woman recently who was overwhelmed with grief, and when she did this, she goes, well, I still feel grief, but I can handle it now. It's my grief. It's not my mother's grief and my grandmother's grief and all these energies she absorbed.
Wow, and it can be so subtle, right? You can sometimes you're not even aware of what it is that you're picking up. For everyone that has joined us today and that is listening with us online, what are 2 concepts that you want them to be curious about as they kind of leave hearing from all of the individuals that have joined us today, and leave hearing from Marie that's going to be speaking with us in a little bit, that can help them be more aware of the magic that is in their life?
One is that a transformation can be easy and fun. I'm not saying it doesn't take some effort, but everybody thinks they have to understand everything. Like if you know what mom did, dad did, on and on and on. And I'm not saying there isn't some utility to that, but in energetic NLP, you learn to put your spirit with its vast perspective, and you get it to combine with your deep inner human wisdom, with its very practical perspective. When they come together, it forms something we call your miraculous self. And your miraculous self is different than your high self. It's your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom collaborating. Now, you might think they'd automatically collaborate. They don't. It would be nice, but they don't. But the thing is, it's really simple. You can just set the intention you want to form a miraculous self. And then in energetic NLP processes, consciously you set the goal, what your outcome is. You give permission, and this is often the missing thing. Intention is not enough. There isn't automatically permission to receive. So you set your intention, you give permission to receive, and then you let your miraculous self be in charge and let the energies do all the work. And I have a number of meditations that are online. They're free, that people can use them to use the energies.
Very, very fascinating. I'm curious, if you had a question for Marie, understanding her work, stemming from The Secret, being on Mind Valley, walking around the world, what would that question be? And how have you maybe already gone about finding the answer to it? Like through connecting with her work?
Yeah, well, synchronistically, I'm remodeling my house. So, in my bedroom, bathroom, like, are down to the studs. So it's like the perfect time to be thinking about this. I live in the hills, and everything's oriented around the views. So everything's south, southwest, or southeast. So I have to figure out, like, I have to turn my desk to the wall. I will be asking you questions.
I think Marie's compass
yeah.
can help with that.
Yeah, but it's a perfect time because, and I'm determined to get rid of clutter. Yes, I'm on the hook. And so yeah, I'm really fascinated about what you're going to say tonight, and it's perfect timing for me, particularly when you talk about your home as your vision board. And I've been doing some really deep internal changes lately, and so it's perfect timing for me. So thank you in advance.
I love that. And for you, as you've thought about how you've connected with people, how you've connected with the people that you've worked with, what has been some of the biggest learnings that you've learned through the work that you do with others?
That everybody is an amazing and beautiful spiritual being. They may not be manifesting it, but that's what they are. And
Right, that's real. I appreciate that honesty.
But it's not about perfection. To me, it's like horseshoes. I love the game of horseshoes because you don't have to get it right. You just have to get closer. So to me, it's like, how can I more and more, and how do my students and my clients manifest who they really are?
Yeah.
And have fun doing it.
So what are the ways, because I've heard you speak about it a lot, that finding the magic or allowing your imagination to kind of soar.
Mm-hmm.
What are the ways in which you found that that's been effective for you? And it's not to say that it will be the same for everyone else, but what are the ways that you've been able to find the magic in your own life?
Well, to me, one of the most important things is to stop trying to get it right. I managed a medical research lab for 11 years. My father was one of the first computer guys. So I've got a very logical part of me. And I always wanted to understand things and figure them out. And there is a saying, understanding is the booby prize of life. And there's a lot of truth to it. And so what I want people to get is, yes, you want to do introspection and everything, but to me, it's like when people talk about chakras. Are there 4 chakras, 7 chakras, 15 chakras, 144 chakras? Do they come out? Do they go up? And I think it's all of that and more. I think we are these incredible multidimensional spiritual beings. Everything about us is multidimensional. And you need to have ways to think about things, but as long as you don't believe they're true and you play with them. So I made up a term, beliefs du jour, like soup du jour. So this is what I believe right now. So to work with your beliefs, but not be attached to them. Because I don't know about you, if somebody told me 10 years from now, Art, you'll believe exactly what you believe now, I would be really depressed. You'd be like, I mean, I didn't learn anything.
Right.
So if you free yourself up to, like, you don't have to get it right, but the more you're guided by your miraculous self, things will just happen.
That's really good. Beliefs du jour. Thank you for that,
Thank you.
Art. I'm definitely going to think about that. Well, it has been such a pleasure having you here with us. And I'm going to re-invite you in just a little bit when we hear from Marie to ask her a couple of questions about the bathroom, right? I can imagine not everyone is remodeling their bathroom right now, but I think everyone, probably spends time in a bathroom and can learn a thing or two. So we'll have to make sure that we ask Marie about that
And
a
I'm
little
not
bit.
giving up the heated toilet. No matter what you say.
Well, I have to. That is too good. Well, thank you so much, Art. Appreciate it. Thank you. There you go. Okay, and Art does have some of his books here,
Yep.
The Untold Secret to Mind Transformation, and Art will be here with his book.
Thank you.
Amazing. So now I'm going to invite our last guest who's going to be joining us before Marie comes. And this segment is going to be very special because it's all about kindness and bringing more kindness into the world. So I'd love to invite Renee Dutton to come join us today. Renee Dutton is an author. She is the founder of the Global Kindness Movement, and she is the author of the book, The Sunshine Effect. And she is also one of the co-creators of the Kindness Impact. And so, kindness is something that we can all benefit from experiencing, from giving, and for celebrating. And so, Renee, we're going to talk about your book in a little bit, but can you talk a little bit about why you started the Global Kindness Movement and what your belief du jour is about the global kindness movement today. Thank you for that, Art.
Well played.
Well, let me start with a question. Who in this room thinks that we could use a little more kindness and compassion in the world right now? Yeah, me too. And this is actually something that I started about 10 years ago. Part of it is in my book, part of it is in other businesses that I've had, where I've realized you just do the littlest thing and it can change somebody's day. And it has just been a passion of mine because it just feels good. It feels good to me. And I've been putting out kindness challenges of the week for years. But now, no more time for dabbling in this little stuff because the world needs massive media. The world needs massive action. And I'll get a little religious here and just say I was on my knees and said, okay, God, this is huge. If you want me to do this, you need to show me. So I called the CEO of the Los Angeles Tribune and I said, you want to go in 50-50 with some compilation books? Done, sure. And then magazines, and then docuseries, and then personal quotes. It's just, the world needs this. And thank you to Alicia. I'm working with Alicia a lot. And you know what? I don't think you get enough love. You are the calmest, sweetest, most emotionally mature 30-something-year-old.
Thank you.
So yeah, that was a long-winded question.
Well, thank you. And I mean, when you think about it, there is so much going on in the world. And, you know, it can mean so much to share a kind act, to witness a kind act, to experience a kind act. I think we never know what people are truly going through. And kindness, it always wins because it can only expand, you know, someone's heart. And it rarely detracts from their heart. And so when you think about what kindness is and how people can heed that call to action to put more kindness out in the world, what really comes to mind?
Well, I don't think kindness is something that you necessarily have to plan. There are opportunities all the time. I mean, every day I see something. There was a woman on a scooter that couldn't reach the groceries at Trader Joe's, and I helped her with that, and I left just feeling lighter, feeling better. I think any time that you can get outside of yourself, and the fastest way to do that is to help someone else. So I've just realized how I've been through a lot in my life. You can read it in the book. The book I didn't necessarily want to write, but I know that we learn things so that we can help people, so that we can grow, and so that we can maybe shorten their pain. And I did learn that kindness is the quickest way to feel better.
Yeah, it really is. And Renee, I mean, your book is phenomenal, The Sunshine Effect. There are a couple of copies here. You talk about your journey, right? There was a point in time where you didn't have a voice. You couldn't use your voice. You couldn't speak. And now here you are screaming from the mountaintops that kindness is a global movement. And so what were some of the thoughts that were going through your mind back then, if you would bring us along with you on your journey? And why do you think that makes the work that you're doing now around the global kindness movement and around the kindness impact that much more special or that much more meaningful to you personally?
Well, there were 9 months where I had no voice. I walked around with an iPad. I was having a hard time getting air. So they said, we're just going to laser open your trachea and you'll be fine. It paralyzed my vocal cord. I had a total of 6 surgeries, actually just had 1 more. And they said, you'll never speak again. We can't get the laser into that small area. And I got this moment of peace, no more. Nobody's setting limits for my life, and I'm gonna be okay. I went home, and I was okay. And I believe I lost my voice because I wasn't using it. I was playing small to stay safe, to keep the peace. I don't like conflict. I'm over it now. I mean, I still don't like it. But we all need to use our voices. But in a beautiful way. You know, keep the derogatory remarks to yourself.
Yeah. Wow. Felt like you lost your voice because you weren't using it. And so, how would you want to connect with those that are here today that maybe have this idea that seems small, or they want to go with it, or they've tried but they've kind of whispered it, they kind of haven't whispered it to themselves or to their friends, or maybe wrote it down in their notebook, and they weren't sure to just like take that step forward, or just to say it just a little bit louder until their voice really resonates to them and then to the world?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's a quick process. But if you feel that you are not being true to yourself, then that's a problem. And I wasn't being true to myself because I just wanted to keep the household quiet and easy. And so figure out what's important to you. And if you're playing small and it doesn't feel right, then take baby steps.
I love that. And Marie is here. She's going to be talking about her book, Your Home is a Vision Board. In just a moment, if there's a question or something that you've thought about as you've connected with Marie's work over the years, what would it be? Give us a little bit of a preview of what that question would look like. And then what are ways that interacting with Marie's messages, how has that shifted things for you at your house and your space, and how you think about creation and manifestation?
Well, I have to say, I met Marie in Las Vegas a few months ago, and she was saying, make sure, here's your question, make sure not to have your desk face the wall. You don't want to walk in and see your back. Is that correct, right? So I immediately went home and turned around my desk.
I love that. See, quick action steps here that are effective.
And I like things pretty clean, and but that was, so I keep it fairly clean. But that was the main thing, was turn around the desk, and I'm not kidding you, checks have been coming in the mail.
So the practices do work. And where's an area? Because we heard it from Art earlier, curiosity around the bathroom in the home. But what is an area in your home that you have an area of curiosity around, how can I maybe shift the space in this room to create a different experience or a different feeling in your life that we can kind of explore when we speak with Marie later?
Okay, this could be totally off, but you may know the answer. When I wake up in the morning, I like to sit in my chair and have my coffee and look out the window. But it's right next to the modem and the Wi-Fi. Is that bad?
We are going to answer that in just a moment here. And Renee, I mean, we talked a little bit about your story, your experiences, and really finding your voice and walking in it. And we talked about kindness, but if there are two learnings that people could get from reading your book, The Sunshine Effect, what do you think that those learnings would be?
Mindset matters. No matter what you're going through, I have found that if you don't have a strong opinion, like, sure, this feels horrible. I mean, I lost the dog, the husband, the house, the children went to college. It was just my voice, one thing after another. But if you get to the point to where maybe there's something that God's trying to tell me, maybe, which there was, maybe something good is going to come out of this, then you just feel so much better and you are so much more at peace.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Renee. So Renee is really active in getting people to share more kindness in the world. And so you can connect with the Kindness Impact at the Kindness Impact on Instagram. But the Kindness Impact is a movement that kindness inspires more kindness, which brings more love into the air. So encourage you, like you said, kindness doesn't have to be planned, but it's something that everyone can be intentional about as they go about their day.
Right, but I also feel like there are so many books, there's so much news that is negative, that if we can all start writing about even a short little paragraph or a quote about kindness, and have it included in this coffee table magazine or in a compilation book. We're practically giving this stuff away for free right now because we want it to take off. And I just want to do a little shout out to Crystal Prevet, who is an official ambassador of the Global Kindness Movement. And if you have any questions about the Kindness Impact books in collaboration with the LA Tribune, you can talk to her or me.
Yes, amazing. And Crystal is also an author. She has her book, Crystal Clear Mindset. And so she doesn't have them here today, but if you're curious about her book, you can also find that online. Thank you so much, Renee. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you for bringing more kindness to this event and this experience here today. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, so I am going to be joined here by my colleague, Donna Campbell, and we are so delighted to be here with our guest of the evening. Her name is Marie Diamond. I know that you all, thank you so much, Shane, know her. She is an author of many books. She was in the film The Secret. She has the app, the Marie Diamond app. You can find her work on mariediamond.com. And she has some really exciting news for you all today because she just launched a new interactive experience that we're going to be talking about today. But it's the Marie Diamond Network, where she is on live TV connecting with her community all around the world. Marie has written the book, Your Home is a Vision Board. And you've already heard it here from some of our guests here that there are so many practical insights in the book that are actionable. And that when you heed the guidance in the book, things shift in your life. So I'm so delighted to be joined here by my colleague, Donna Campbell, as we further introduce Marie Diamond. Thank you so much. And welcome, Marie.
Hello, ladies. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody online. So wonderful to be here.
Yes, we still have going strong over 500 people here watching us online. Thank you, everybody. And please keep those comments coming in.
Yes, so, okay, Marie, you've written a number of books. You have traveled all around the world, and Your Home is a Vision Board. It reframes the understanding of what a vision board is. It brings it to life right there in people's spaces. As we kick off our discussion today, what is it about even the title, Your Home is a Vision Board, that you want really people to understand and connect with and be curious about?
Well, as you know, I was in the movie The Secret that kind of launched this whole idea, almost mainstream, about vision boards, right? So when John Asraf in The Secret was talking about vision boards, from that moment on, it became like its own journey and movement that people started really making vision boards or mood boards, whatever they call it, dream boards. And so, and I made a vision board. I remember it was actually a vision wall. I kind of put on the wall in my room all the things I wanted to establish, the places I wanted to travel to, and so forth. But what I then later on understood as I became a feng shui master is that it's not just what you put on paper that can help you, and not just by writing the goals and putting beautiful images around it, but actually that everything around us is constantly subconsciously giving us a message. And if that's in your bedroom, in your living room, here in Barnes and Nobles, here in the Grove, I mean, can you imagine all the messages we're getting here by all the books that are here. Millions, right, of messages. But the whole point is that I started understanding that as I'm a feng shui master, so understanding that, you know, everything around us is affecting us on the subconscious mind. And I wanted to find a way to explain it that was related with manifestation and the law of attraction. And so I remember very exactly, I was in Prague in 2017 teaching about the law of attraction to about 500 people, and people were like, but how is it affecting me? And it was the question, and I said, well, your home is a three-dimensional vision board. And from that on, and everybody in the room was like, now we understand it. And that's actually where the title came from, because from that moment on, I explained to people how their space that they live, work, and sleep in is really affecting them non-stop. It's an ongoing message that is given all the time around you. And that's how we started with this book. Yeah.
Wow, that's so fascinating. And since then, so your book, it came out in the fall of last year. What is something that has most surprised you about what people have been experiencing or doing since coming into connection with the words on the page in your book?
Well, it was written with a lot of love and a lot of blessings in it. And there were two things. First of all, I love the fact that people have shared it with so many of their friends. Like, they bought a book, they bought 10 more books and gave it to other people. What I loved about it, because it was like, it's not just for me, I'm going to give it to my friend, I'm going to give it to my sister. So, and people would text me or DM me on Instagram like, oh, I got it from this person, I'm reading this book, and I bought already a few more books and I'm giving it away. So that was always so beautiful, because you see that it really impacted them and they wanted to share it. And a second part, and I think I shared earlier to you, what I love about when some people would say like, oh, we read your book, we made our vision board, because it also teaches you how to make a vision board based on your personal energy number, and that's based on your birthday. And they said like, we did it with the whole family, like the parents, the children, we all sit together, we go step by step, we create our vision board, we have downloaded your free app, and then from there, having their vision board, they went to their bedrooms of the children, the bedrooms of, or wherever they are sitting, and seeing if that environment is reflecting what they have put on paper. And that was such a sweet moment when I started seeing that more and more. I got messages from people saying, we do it as a family. That was super sweet.
Wow. I love that. I have to say, I bought the book for my mom. I was like, how can she kind of shift things around at home? And it's fascinating. I remember when I first bought a copy of your book, I was reading it on a train. And I was taking notes, and I was like, wait, I need to read this at home, right? Because there are so many actionable insights that people can take. So can you walk some of our guests here that are joining us in person and online on how to think about and frame their understanding of how to truly amplify the impact that the book can have on their life, by like even how to approach when to read it, how to think about your space when you're reading it, how to connect your app to the experience of reading the book to really transform their space?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would like to share is like, I want you to become aware of your environment, because most people are not of that. And so I think definitely in the time of COVID, people became more aware because they were more at home. Like, they were not only living at home, they were also working at home. There was just 24 hours a day that they were at home. So I think that's kind of shifted people more to become aware of, wow, that clutter, the chaos that is here, oh, I don't like it. It was a time when most people were renovating, remodeling their space, was actually during COVID. And so it was really interesting for people to start seeing like, is this home still reflecting me? Yeah, because I always say to people, ask yourself two questions, right? It's like, walk through your home and ask yourself the first question: is this home reflecting me right now? Yeah. And the second question is my home reflecting myself for the future? Yeah. So, for example, you're single, right? And you have your mindset and your life is all about, okay, I'm okay to be single. And then you look around and you see, you have all these images of single women around you. Or a single cat, a single candle, a single this, like, and they're like, well, you've been reflecting what you feel in the outside world, not just in the people you meet. Perhaps you are having a lot of single girlfriends, but also because it's normal. You externalize the energy that you are, yeah, and the actions you take, but also in your environment. But what if you can change that, and to say that, like, what do I really want to become, and that you see, like, well, I really want to be in a relationship. Okay, why don't you put 2 candles and 2 cats and 2 hearts and just saying like, hey, I'm open to a twosome, right? We're not going into the threesome here. But the whole point is just changing that energy, right? And so I wanted people to become aware how important the environment was. And so in The Secret, for example, I was the only one that was talking about how the environment was creating a mindset, yeah. And um, and I've seen over the years that a lot of people are trying a lot of attraction, manifesting, but they're missing a major tool, and that is not the tool of your mind, or the tool of your writing, or the tool of your speaking and your actions. It is actually your home is one of your manifestation tools, yeah, because it's reflecting you, and so the more you share outward what you want to become, the more it also will again go inside of yourself, and there's this almost energy moving back and forward, so that you're like, oh, I am, my life is in chaos, but look around you, it is in chaos, your home, it's a mess. But you don't think about that. That is also again affecting you in yourself again. So there's like this in and outgoing vibration. And so for me, understanding that and helping to share people in a very simple way, to become aware, like look around, what are the things you can do, and then knowing that this process is a very personal process, and that is actually based on your personal birthday. We call it personal feng shui, and that's why we're bringing the personal Marie Diamond app, where you're putting in your birthday, and you're getting literally a I would say almost a profile that you see like, oh, this is a good direction for me, this is what I can place there. And as you're doing that, you're adding such a huge part of your law of attraction that is manifesting easier, more effortless, because everything is aligned. Not just what is inside of you, of course it starts always inside of you, but how you align it with the outside world, and then how the outside world aligns it back into you.
I absolutely love that. And like Alicia, reading this on a plane, I realized, and I have read it more than once, that when you're in your own home environment, you're reading it, I like to take quick action. So I started implementing everything in here and have followed a lot of the advice. And now I have several questions for you, but the first question is, now that I have done that, and one of the things I love to do is to travel. So now I'm traveling everywhere, and I'm not home in my own environment. I'm in other people's environments, or hotel rooms, or Airbnbs and different things. So when a person has the life of their dreams and they're traveling, and they're not home in their own environment like this, what would you recommend to that person to stay energetically in alignment and balanced?
I love that question.
Yeah, well, I'm traveling all the time, so I can answer that very well. So I would say, first of all, you have to understand that a space holds energy, and there can be energy, especially in a hotel, from people that have been, I don't know, thousands of people have been in that hotel room. So how can you make it your own, even if it's for one night? Yeah. So I always, for example, have some lavender essential oil with me, or a lavender spray. So to just spray that energy, open the window if you can, And we can even focus on having a magnet and kind of pulling it all out, whatever works for you. But just to create a little more an atmosphere. It can be that you like another essential oil, like something that it feels like it becomes your home, right? So that is something that can be helpful. And then what I always do, I always have a fabric with me to cover the television. Because at night, the television reflects back because it's like a mirror. And that means that mirror has seen a lot of people sleeping there and perhaps doing a lot of other things. So
we're inside and wisdom here.
So I cover that so that it doesn't become like a portal of memories that has been in that space. Yeah,
That's
and
good.
so by doing that, it really immediately becomes much calmer, especially if you have a mirror. Even I have even put suitcases in front of it. I mean, I did hang my vests over it. As the moment I do that, everything becomes more calmer. And then, based on your personal, the app that you have and your energy number, there is in every room your success direction. So you can literally download the app, and then I have my compass, and my success direction is southwest. So I literally check every room, if it's the Airbnb or is it a hotel room, where is my success direction. If there's a garbage bin there, I immediately move it. Because otherwise I put, my success in the garbage. I get a little table, or I even put my suitcase there, and I put things on it. I always have my book with me, yeah. I have post-it notes with me, and I write some goals that I have, or I stick it in that area that is good for me, and I hang it on the wall. You should see my hotel room, it's very funny, right? And it's like, oh, I'm here, I'm speaking for this audience, okay, I write the goals and I put them there. I also have a picture of my family with me, yeah, and my dogs, right? And I also have a little crystal globe with me, yeah? And I always put that in my relationship direction in my hotel, because wherever I am, I'm connecting with humanity and connecting with all my students worldwide. So, and of course, I see my family there. And I make sure I do not put any clutter in my good directions. And that's, of course, explains this in the book. Because otherwise you're creating more beta brainwaves, and you want to create alpha brainwaves. I sometimes in a hotel room and I need to work, email, sometimes calls, podcasts, interviews, and I make sure I'm always facing a good direction. So the good direction is seeing the door, always see the door. Somebody was mentioning it. Never sit with your back to the door, because you're not in a command position. We are really good here,
Yes.
right? Because we see all of you, we see what's going on in this space. You guys don't see it, right? But hey, we're the ones speaking, so that's fine, right? So even in a hotel room, I never sit with my back to the room, to the door. So whenever I am online, and I also try to face one of the good directions. These are simple things that you can do every time in every place, and I do this for 30 years. Because the next day I have to speak sometimes with thousands of people. I need to be on top of my game, yeah? And I don't make any clutter in my hotel room.
Wow. Wow. I think I'm going to be remodeling all the spaces right now. I'm going to have an extra suitcase. The other question I had for you, Marie, is, a lot of people ask about their office space, their bedroom space. Art was asking about his bathroom. Is there a question that is very common among everyone that is like the number one question everybody wants to know about?
Well, it's interesting. A lot of people ask about bathrooms and kitchens, and I always say, don't worry so much about it, because you don't spend time there. It's like I always say, focus on the spaces where you spend at least 3 to 5 hours a day. And if you spend 3 to 5 hours a day in your bathroom, there's a problem with you. Okay? So make sure you keep it clean, you keep it organized, make it smell nice. You can have your seated toilet.
Your response, Art.
Beautiful, no problem with that. Just don't put personal things in your kitchen or your bathroom. No personal images, no pictures, because there's a sink or a stove in the kitchen. You're draining things, you're burning things, so don't have that. For example, a lot of people put in their kitchen on their fridge, they would put all images of their family, right, or their travels, and I said, you're freezing them. You know, it's cold there, don't do that. You know, you open that door and it doesn't always smell so fresh in a fridge. So just take that out, put them in the living room, put these images in the family room, in your bedroom, where people would literally visit you. They don't visit you at the fridge, yeah? So it's just like, this is, people ask always these questions, and I'm thinking, don't focus there, focus on the living room, focus on the office, focus on the bedroom, because that's where you spend time, sleeping, working, enjoying your family life. So make sure these places are really wonderful to be there. There's like, oh, there's a good atmosphere, some good colors. So all the elements should be there. You know, just feel that this is a place where you can live fully in your highest self, and the most expansive and the most, what I love about what you said, the most miraculous self. Yeah.
Wow, so subtle yet so effective. You know, I think you can see the visual if you have a picture of your family in your freezer. You're literally freezing them. And so oftentimes there are a lot of things in our space and we don't really understand the subtle impact or the subtle messages that we're sending to ourselves and the people around us. And I love that about your work. You really remind people that it can be so subtle, but it's so effective, and the impact is actually pretty profound, or it can be profound on your life.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and it's just simple things sometimes, but I always say, for example, like say in a bedroom, right? I was just in somebody's bedroom and they had a huge painting of a horse. And she said, I love a horse. I said, do you ride a horse in your bedroom? She said, no, of course not. I said, well, you know, if this horse would be really here, how would your subconscious mind feel? Your subconscious mind would say, whoa, I don't think I will sleep here, right? She said, I'm so restless here. I don't sleep very well here. I said, of course not. There's a horse in your bedroom, right? Take that out. You know, a horse is a very big, beautiful being. And she said, oh, but can I then put it in my living room? I said, yeah, that's fine. You're awake there. That's not a problem, right? So we have to become aware that everything around us is giving us a story, a message in our subconscious mind. And is that story right for that area? Yeah. If you have like an image of, you know, I would say Picasso, for example, with a woman that's all like, you know, strangely painted, and you would hang that above your headboard, how would that woman feel that sleeps under it? Yeah? So I just want you to pay more attention to the things that you have around you and how that can affect you.
Wow, that's so good. It's such a, it's, you know, they say, there's that saying that your life is a reflection of the 5 people that you spend the most time around, but it's like your life is also a reflection of the 5 spaces that you spend your most time in.
It is definitely affected by the place where you spend more than 5 hours a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you are in your office and, you know, you're sitting the wrong way and you are literally surrounded by mess and chaos, how can your business move forward? It's impossible, right? You're just not focused. And so what do you have around you is going to affect your business, your prosperity, mentality, and so on, you know? So make sure that space is telling what you are about, right? I have my awards out, I have my certificates out. It's like I have images of thank you notes, like, you know, when you come into my office, you recognize it is my office, yeah? It's not like somebody else's their office, right? So many times I've seen that people put things out that just are not reflecting of the work that they want to bring or the purpose that they have in their life. And sometimes I find that the books or whatever they want to like in areas that don't make sense. I remember once I went to the home of one of the Rolling Stones, right? And so I come and I'm like, I'm looking everywhere where his golden records were hanging and I couldn't find them till I went to his restroom, his toilet area. And it was a very huge bathroom and there were all his golden records. And I said, how are you feeling lately about going on tour with the rest of your friends of the Rolling Stones said, I don't want to go on a tour anymore. And I said, yeah, because everybody is literally doing something close to your golden records or platinum records. I said, let's move them out. And so 6 months later, he's like, I'm ready to go on tour again. Yeah, so because he now has it in his office. So it's in his visual, yeah? Because we're all very visual, right? So if we have like even the beautiful paintings of our grandkids on the fridge, what are we saying to the grandkids? You're not so valuable, but if you frame it and you put it out on the wall, you're saying to that grandchild, you're so valuable to me, yeah? So everything around you that is important to you, make it visible. Show, it's not that you show off, you show up for yourself.
Showing up for yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And it makes me wonder too, because even when Renee was asking her question to you earlier about where she normally has her morning coffee, your tea, but you're next to the modem and the wires and everything. What can we do for that space there if that's the only space the modem gets plugged into?
Well, you know, some people are more sensitive to it than others, for sure, right? And it is an electromagnetic field, right? So it's possible that you just, for example, put a beautiful crystal there, or there are certain plants that are very good in absorbing some of that energy. It could be a beautiful salt lamp, for example, absorbs a lot of that energy. I mean, there's a lot of things out there on the market that can help you with that. But I would say it will, for more sensitive people, it will be affecting you for sure, right? I cannot do that. I cannot sit close to a modem like this. I need to be a little bit more taking a distance from it. But I would say if it's just a 5 minutes, a half hour, it's fine. But what if you would be sitting there 5-6 hours, right? That is where I would then start being, perhaps could be interesting and affecting you more than you think.
Misty, you have a question. We are going to have a Q&A so that we have interactive audience questions. So if you would like to ask your question now.
To kind of go along with that, where should I put my wallet? Should I get a tree?
A wallet?
A wallet.
Yeah. Well, a wallet is definitely is part of your abundance energy, right? So it's very interesting. A lot of people put them on their nightstands, right? And I always say to people, don't do that. Yeah, because you have to think that when you sleep, your aura field is literally as wide as your arms, right? It's like as wide as this, right? So when it's on your nightstand and you have your wallet there, you will be also more worrying about money actually. Yeah? So I always say, put it in your living room, put it in your success direction when you don't use it because it's a symbol of abundance. Yeah? So that's what I would do. But I would not put it on a nightstand. First of all, you don't make money in your bed. I mean, most of us don't.
The insights and wisdom. I'm actually kind of curious, Marie, because you just said, you know, some people will put their wallet on their nightstand. So what are 4 or 5 habits, let's call them, or things that you've noticed that people do often that is such a simple tweak that if they adjusted it or they did something else, maybe it's what they do right when they walk into their front door, or something that's right into their foyer, or you know, something that is in their living room. Maybe they spend a lot of time there with their family, that are simple shifts that they can make that really do have those transformative impacts if they just make a shift or two.
Yeah. Well, you know, as you come into your home, I would always say, just have a thought of gratitude. Yeah, you have a home, right? I've been in my life without a home, so I know what it is when you can't find the right home and you are without it. So it's like, have a moment of gratitude. Oh, I'm so happy to be home. Thank you so much. I can be here. That's just a simple thing. But also, I want you to be aware that a lot of people use their side door or their garage to go inside the home. And I always say to people, use your front door more. Because your front door is what we call the mouth of cheese, where the abundance is coming in. And I said, you know, if you use your back door or you use your garage, you actually, the first thing you come in when you're moving into your space is in your garage. It's not so pleasant to see. It's not so beautiful. You take the back door, you see your kitchen. It's not so pleasant. So when you come in, make sure you welcome yourself. Have a beautiful orchid, perhaps a picture of your family, a candle. When you come in, like, oh, I'm at home. I always say to people, in the word home is the word om, right? And it's the oldest and the most beautiful sacred sound there is in the world. So your home can really help your spirit to elevate. Yeah. So that's the first thing I would love for you to do. The second thing, I really would love everybody to go home, and people that are at home right now, is just really take time in the next week to go through your stuff and see what you can let go. Yeah? Because creating space is not just creating space in your environment, it's create space in your mind, create space in your heart, yeah, to go to the next level for yourself. So let go of at least 10%, you know, and that can be given away to goodwill. It can be perhaps things that are broken that you say, like, it can go in the garbage. Just open the space, organize things, yeah, better, because the more you do that, you actually say to yourself, my life will be more organized, my life will be in a better space. So that's something very simple. But start first of all in your bedroom, because your bedroom is the most vulnerable place because you are asleep. So if you have a lot of clutter there, it affects you more than if it's in your living room. Yeah. So declutter your nightstand. Don't have shoes and clothes on the ground. You know, some people are like, oh, I don't have a lot of good romance happening. I said, I can imagine. To get into your bed, I have to fold 3 times over all your clothes and shoes. I mean, it's too much, right? So all the point is that you become aware of that. Yeah. And then one thing I would definitely suggest is also to let go of everything that's broken, old, or dead. And I'm talking about dead plants, for example. Yeah. Anything that is like potpourri or something, there's no vitality in it. Yeah. So let that go, right? Put some fresh flowers. I mean, it's spring, it's summer. Bring beautiful green into your space, an orchid, something like blossoming, so that your mind and your heart is going to blossom too. Yeah.
Those are so good. I see people taking notes here. Those are so good. And Marie, you travel around the world, right?
Yeah.
And I love Donna's question earlier, because your home is a vision board, but I love that you kind of shared as you travel that your home is where you are. So
Yeah.
even if you're traveling, even if you're not in a space that is your home, you bring things that you would like to see around you in your space. And so what are some of the biggest shifts that you've seen with people as you've traveled around the world and shared some of the messages and the learnings that you have with feng shui, with organizing your space, and with how people connect with the environments that they're in?
Well, I would say one of the first things that people say to me is that they feel life gets easier. Yeah. Because now it's not just that they're manifesting with their mindset, but it's like everything around them is aligned and they feel like things go easier, more effortless. That's one of the things people feel. I do see, first of all, so that people feel, especially families, businesses, that there's more harmony. There's more peace, there's less conflict, there's less accidents, like people get along better with each other. And that alone just touches my heart, because coming from a background where there was in my home very bad feng shui when I grew up, where there was a lot of conflict and abuse on many levels. For me, having a beautiful family now myself, knowing that it is possible when you create and use feng shui to have better relationship with your children, long-term relationship. I'm 35 years married, and to have a space where you feel, peaceful, productive, creative. That is all possible, and that is something that always touches my heart. And then, so many people say, like, I found the love of my life after doing this, or my new business went off, or my book became a bestseller, or so all these things that I hear daily, right? I have more than 2 million online students, so I hear daily all these wonderful stories of people saying, I did everything in The Secret, I did everything in Law of Attraction, nothing was happening till I added your aspect, your system to it. And I said, you have to understand, Even the person that was making The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, she came to me telling me, Marie, The Secret doesn't work for me. And I said, let me do my magic. Let me come into your home. Let me come into your office. Let me redesign everything. And once we did that, that's when The Secret took off. And that's why people call me The Secret behind The Secret. That's my nickname. So, but also that so many top people like the late Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Marianne Williamson, they're all these amazing teachers and speakers, Sean Gray, and so many, Vishen Lakhiani, when they are stuck, when their mindset is like not able to create the life and the dreams they have, they call me because there's something off. And when I align everything for them, then they're like, oh, I got to the next level. So your home can elevate your dream or can block your dream. It's up to you to do something about it.
Wow, that is right. Let's give that a round of applause. And I would love to encourage you in the audience to think of your questions. We are about to get into the Q&A portion of this evening in just a moment, but I'd be remiss, Marie, if we didn't, one, congratulate you for the launch of the Marie Diamond Network that launched this week, where you're connecting live with individuals on TV a few times a month. Can you talk a little bit about what that experience has been like for you and what people can expect to learn and how they can expect to engage with you with your new network?
Well, about 10 years ago, I actually got this idea that I wanted to create a Marie Diamond network. And so I put it on my vision board in my success direction. I even created a banner for it at that time. And so, but I had no idea how this was going to happen, right? This was before the streaming platforms, before we watched Netflix, let's be honest, right? So I was given the opportunity with the platform Fireside, where a lot of top celebrities having their streaming platform, to create my Marie Diamond Network. So we launched it actually yesterday. And so what I do, because I love working with people directly and in person, is that we have several shows every month, and it's all live. And so it's like when you go to Netflix, you pay something monthly, small fee. And so people are, every week, every Monday morning, we do a huge meditation and a clearing session for people to help clear their vibration. Then once a month we do a whole show on manifestation, a show on feng shui. We have guests also coming in. We do a whole heart-to-heart show where I do, literally people come in and I do very quick, because that's part of my ability to see energy and to read the vibration and to answer the questions. And so it is live, so it's a beautiful experience. We started yesterday with a bang, so I'm very happy for it. And it's a dream come true for me, because I have students in 190 countries, so to be bringing this community together, and I'm live all the time, then 8 times a month with my community.
And you had a banner, so you literally, your home is a vision board. You had a physical expression of what you wanted to bring into your life.
We need to wait 10 years because the technology had to code.
There you go.
Now, I do need to know, in your success section, did you put any awards for your new TV show to win now that it's launched?
Very interesting. I have not. Well, I have Oscars.
Okay.
I have an Emmy, they're fake, right, for the moment.
They're real in the future.
Right, yeah. But I do have in my relationship direction, I do have my Hall of Fame from Los Angeles Tribune. And of course, in my success direction, I have the label of the Los Angeles Tribune.
Woo! Amazing. Well, we know that you've traveled here to be with Marie, so I'd love to open it up for audience questions. I'd love to start with you right here. Do you have a question for Marie? Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is I live in an apartment, and there is some other tenants that are on there that are causing some issues. So every time I go home, I'm like, ugh, I'm home. What would be the first thing that you would recommend, other than moving, because I'm not doing that at this time, Is there something that you would recommend other than walking in and going, I'm grateful to have a place
Okay,
to stay?
so I'll repeat it out loud so the online community can hear it. So she lives in an apartment, and the neighbors are not always the most pleasant people around her. She can't move really. So is there anything else she can do energetically living in that space? Because now she comes into the home, she's like, oh, I come back to that space. So first of all, what you can do is actually working with crystals. Yeah, you can work with white quartz crystal or obsidian. Yeah, and really the area where the neighbors are the most difficult. Yeah, on that area, always when you work with crystals, wash your crystals with lavender soap or sea salt water. Yeah, to clear the energy because you don't know where the crystals have been, and then activate it outside in the sun, not the full moon. Yeah, we in feng shui we work with the sunlight, not the full moon. And so you activate it, and then you take the crystal and put intention in it, an intention of protection, for example. And then you put it in the area, like where the people are. Some of you will say, well, it's always above me. Well, then literally hang the crystals on the ceiling in the corners. Yeah. So that's something that a lot of people have said has been very helpful for them. So I would give you that.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Any other questions here for Marie? Renee, oh, yeah, right here.
I can say when I travel, I like to bring my favorite, maybe my rug or my favorite blanket, and I put it over the hotel, what they have. I bring my favorite candle. I bring more than one candle. So I try to make it my own because I travel a lot too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you think
Yeah,
of that.
so I'm just going to repeat. So this lady travels a lot, and she always brings her like a favorite blanket, a favorite scented candle with her. I think that's a great idea because again, it feels more at home, right? I always have like my latest book that I'm brought out, or I bring some books that inspire me. So put things as much as you can, and I call the little travel kits that you make for yourself. And it can be the blanket, it can be your stuffed animal that you really love. Some people love to travel with that. And so fine, just bring a little bit of your home with you on your travels. Yeah.
I want to say one more
Yeah.
thing.
Go for it.
I went on a trip to Michigan. My dad brought me to Michigan, and we were in an Airbnb, and it was a 100-year-old house, and the room they put me in was angels like weeping really sadly on gravestones. It was almost like haunted, and I told him I can't stay in this room. I'm not even going to sleep here. I am not going to sleep here.
So I'm going to repeat it. So she was staying in an Airbnb, and it was in the bedroom where there were like statues of angels like on a gravestone, like very weeping. So and she couldn't stay there because you already experienced how the energy of the room had shifted because of these images.
Right.
Yeah. So and that's why I always have some lavender mist with me to just spray the energy, take some things down. This is the first thing I always do when I come into an Airbnb. And sometimes in a hotel, I'm like, I cannot have that image above my headboard, right? So I take them off, or I have extra fabrics, I put it over. Like my husband just arrived in an Airbnb 2 days ago in the south of France as he's traveling with the kids. And as it was an image of a sea landscape, like with the dunes and water, and he come and shows me and said, I need to take that down, don't I? And I said, yes, sweetheart, because you cannot have water above your headboard because you're actually drowning, right? And it's just the dunes, it's like, it's kind of desert in a way, it's sand above you. Like what if you would lay under there, how would you feel, right? So many times, you know, when we go to places, like the first thing my kids know, like, okay, this will be taken down. This is going to be in the closet. So I actually I take pictures before, and then I can put it back in the right place. But it's just, if there's something that you don't like in a space, it is because it doesn't resonate with your vibration.
Right.
Yeah? Pay attention to that. Yeah?
That is really good. We're gonna, for those of you that are tuning in live in our online audience, encourage you to ask our question. Our colleague here will ask it on your behalf. And so for those of you that are here, what are other curiosities that you have around the spaces that you may be spending a lot of time in or traveling to. And I have a question that we didn't get a chance to ask earlier, Marie, but you were talking about thinking about the spaces that you spend more than 5 hours in. For individuals that don't work from home, that work in a space that's outside of their home, that may be a shared space, right? Where it's not only them that is experiencing the space. How can they approach their interactions with their space, or how can they make their space liven it up a little bit for ways that serve them, but also don't detract from all the other people that may be sharing the space with them?
Of course. So let's say you're in a shared space. Like I said, bring some essential oils with you, or a spray that you feel like, oh, when I spray that, oh, I feel so at home. Could be vanilla, could be cookies, I don't know, whatever you like. I just spray a little bit. Like, I remember my first company that I worked for as a lawyer. I went earlier than anybody else, and I was spraying, like, just to have like a feeling of, oh, I feel good here, right? And then make sure perhaps you have a desk, perhaps you are sitting somewhere, I don't know, wherever it is. You can perhaps a book that inspires you for the moment, perhaps a picture of your family because you're working perhaps for your family. It can be bringing a little crystal that you really like, that you place there. It doesn't have to be a lot, but something that is pleasant for you and that inspires you. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't have to be that other people even notice what it is. I always say best feng shui is that even people don't have an idea that it is feng shui. Yeah, so when people come in my home, they're like, oh my God, I love it is here, but they don't even know what it really is because, you know, literally it doesn't show that it's from a feng shui master, but it's a combination of colors. So, and then you can work with colors specifically. For example, if you want to have more clarity, like more focused, and work with like an aqua blue. Yeah, so it could be that you bring an aqua blue crystal or something in that color that you put on your table because you'll be more focused when you do that. When you want more abundance, then you perhaps can have like a pyramid that's like a fake gold crystal, or perhaps a gold candle you put there. It doesn't have to be a lot, but your mind will get the message because of the colors and the vibrations.
I love that too. What I'm really curious about is, have you ever had someone make a change in their room and then they just didn't resonate with it? Like changing out a color to the curtains and then they live with it for 6 months, but then they still don't love it.
Well, you know, I always give several options when I work in somebody's home because, you know, I will say, for example, look, you need more earth energy. Earth energy can be beige, can be yellow, can be pink, can be orange. And I said, and we actually muscle test people's body to see if it's the right color for them. And that's one of the ways that I will know their body will say yes to it. Yeah. But also, like, these are the options, you know. For example, I want more metal. Hey, you can do white, you can do silver, you can do gold, you can do bronze. What do you like? And say, oh, I like more bronze. That's fine by me, as long as it is that kind of element. Yeah. So I try to really, you know, I work with a lot of interior designers, so I always try to make sure the element is there, the energy is there, but still people need to love the space, right? It's their space. It's not my home. Right? It's their space. So I always try to find, and if they don't like it, then, and sometimes it's resistance also, right? I remember one of my best friends, I wanted to really help her. She was really in a mess. And I said, let me do your feng shui. And so I changed everything. And I always say to people, leave it at least 9 days. Because 9 days is what it needed to change the chi, to create the energy. And because after 9 days, you will start feeling the shift in your mindset, yeah? And of course, she was like, I hate it. And she was like, okay. So after 2 days, she shifted everything back to the old space and her life is still as stagnant as before. So she had the possibility to get free advice from a feng shui master. And didn't take it. Yeah.
Well, I love that you actually mentioned that with the 9 days, right? Because it can be easy for someone to change something and be like, I've after 40. Oh, it didn't work. Let me change it back. But there is an integration process, is what you're saying,
is.
that it
now we
requires
say
that.
minimum 9 days to 9 weeks. Yeah, but most people, once they have changed that bed, once they have put something else, they don't change it back because they really feel it within 9 days. Like so many times people said, my God, I remember this woman and I came into her home and there was like literally at the entrance is her garbage bin. And I said, put that away, right? She had, in her bedroom, she had like her fridge, everything around her was like, showed really lack of abundance energy. And so we changed all that around and she said, what will be the result? I said, I don't know what's stuck in your field, so I don't know how the universe will respond back to it. And what happened is like the next day, she calls me and she's like, Marie, I get this unexpected check in the mail for $4,000. And she said, I didn't even know that somebody would, give that to me. And I said, well, you put your garbage bin away, it could come, right? So it's like, and I was just talking to this afternoon to a podcast host, and he was like, I didn't believe anything of what you were sharing, but I did it, and I changed my desk around, and he said a week later, I got a notice that apparently I have outstanding money from the government. I was not aware of it, and they were like, they had sent me mails, but I didn't even open the mails because I thought like, oh, this is another tax or something. It was actually, he was $10,000 granted by the government. And he's like, I knew because I changed my desk, I had a different mindset, I was open for abundance, and I opened the envelope. And there were 4 other envelopes sent already to me that I never opened. So I didn't even know I had $10,000 waiting for me. Yeah. So it's like this whole change of vibration that is happening. Your home is now supporting you instead of, like I said, holding back. And so that is why Feng Shui and Your Home is a Vision Board explains it in a very simple way, is actually creating very practical, easy steps that everybody can do.
Yeah. Yeah, your home is co-creating and co-collaborating with you in what you would like to bring into your life. Yes, we have a question. Yes.
Okay, for chronic anxiety, what are some of the most effective changes I can do to the room I spend the most time in? What changes can I make that would be the most effective for helping me soothe my chronic anxiety and move out of that phase?
Okay, so the question is, she is in a phase of anxiety and she wants to know what would be the best for her to do, some practical tips to get easier out of that situation. First of all, always sit in a power position. Yeah, day and night. Literally, that means at night when you wake up, you see the door. Every moment you can, at your couch, at your dining room table, and your coffee shop that you're visiting, always face your power position, because your energy will go literally from beta to alpha. When beta vibration, our energy goes to the back of our head, and literally that is where we are anxious. We're thinking about the past. When we're looking and seeing ourselves in a power position, our energy goes to the frontal lobe, and what happens, we get more alpha vibration. That means you are more thinking about the future, you're more creative. That's the first thing I always want you to do. Yeah, simple, easy to do.
I can feel that I'm more anxious when things are going on behind me.
Indeed, when things are going on behind you, you're more anxious. If you're facing a wall with your desk, you're literally hitting a wall, like nothing is moving forward. There's no space to create. Nobody can even sit there on the other side. And then you're with your back to the door, so anything can happen. You're like all the time, oh, what is going on? So you're more on that flight mode, alert mode, right? So that's the first thing I want to change. The second thing, always try to face one of your 4 directions. So you download the app, and in the app it indicates 4 directions that are good for you and 4 directions that are empty. Again, when you face a good direction, your vibration goes to alpha. Within 3 seconds, you create more alpha. We tested with encephalograms. It is amazing. Yeah. So that each time brings you out of that alert mode, that anxious mode. Yeah. And then I would love for you to really look at your home, like what are the colors. So if you want to have less anxiety, perhaps that's why I'm wearing it, I wear orange. And orange is the color of joy. It's the color of happiness. Yeah, literally in the Netherlands, you know, the Dutch-speaking people, and I speak Dutch, um, the royal family is from the House of Orange. And when people go there to the soccer team, they all wear orange. When they go partying for carnival, they wear orange. But they're like the most outgoing, optimistic people that you can imagine in all of Europe. Yeah? And it's because orange is an earth color, so use that more. Yeah, and it can be by putting pillows, candles, table mats, orange flowers. Bring orange in. People always become more happier. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Well, Marie, we're gonna open it up for questions in just a moment, but we would like to take a moment to recognize you for the work that you do, Marie, and for the impact that your book, Your Home is a Vision Board, has been having on individuals from all around the world. So on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune, on the behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune community and the executive team, we're so proud to announce that your book, Your Home is a Vision Board, is a Los Angeles Tribune critically acclaimed best-selling book, and you are a Los Angeles Tribune critically acclaimed best-selling author.
What an honor. Thank
Your,
you so much.
your book, you know, the Los Angeles Tribune critically acclaimed bestseller recognition is all about books and literary works of art that are culturally relevant, that have impact, and are really helping to expand the mindset of the communities that read them. And Your Home is a Vision Board is doing just that. It has had such a profound impact on individuals. Your work has. We heard the testimonials earlier today. You even heard it from Donna with that 200-pound amethyst that looks gorgeous, by the way, in her office.
Everyone sees it on the Zoom call.
Yes, it is
because
beautiful.
it's right there.
But on behalf of our CEO, Morak, our editor-in-chief, Abavi Manuel, our chief operating officer, Parisa Rose, who's here with us today, Donna Campbell, who is the executive vice president of the LA Tribune Film Division, myself, the chief strategy officer here at the Los Angeles Tribune. We are so honored to recognize you with this critically acclaimed bestseller recognition because of the impact that you're having. It's not just about designing your home. You're helping people expand their mindsets, transform their lives in such a physical way, but in a way that has a really long lasting impact. And so we just want to say we honor you.
Thank
and
you
we
so
recognize you, and congratulations.
Thank you, and this will go again in my success direction.
Awards.
Awards in a golden frame.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you so much. And Marie, I know we're gonna have time to connect with those that are joining us here live. I know that there are many joining us from all around the world online, but would love for you to just hold space to share thoughts that have been on your mind, whether they're about your book, Your Home is a Vision Board, the launch of the Marie Diamond Network that you literally created in your space with a banner 10 years ago, or any of the other kind of conversations that you've been having with people. Would love for you to just share what is on your mind and heart to connect with our audience here today.
Yeah. Well, we are definitely in a time where we call that in Feng Shui a time of fire. And so that actually started in January last year. It's a 20-year cycle. And the time of fire is always a time of huge transformation, where literally sometimes things go into ashes, but the phoenix will rise from it. And we have experienced that in Los Angeles, unfortunately, already this year. But fire also stands for purpose and passion. And so I would suggest and invite actually everybody to really look into, is your home reflecting your passion? Is your home reflecting your purpose? And if you don't have that yet, and you don't know what that purpose and passion is, I would say there are so many beautiful teachers and formats and where that people can help you to find your purpose and passion. And so this is the next 20 years. It's not about, okay, I'm going to perhaps do something in my life. No, it's like, what are you going to focus on? And this third aspect of fire is impact. Yeah, we talked about it already a little bit. Today, even with the beautiful movie that comes out, The Pillars of Power, what the Los Angeles Tribune does for the last few years is really creating huge impact. With the kindness movement, global kindness movement was so important. So the question is, what is your positive impact in the world? And I ask myself that every morning. Yeah. When I came out of my near-death experience, coma, at 15, I got a message on the other side, in light, that I was here to enlighten more than 500 million people. Now, of course, I had no idea what that meant. And you don't all have to go to a near-death experience to find your purpose, by the way. But it was like my way, right? And what happened was, I got that message, but I asked myself that every morning. I say every morning to God, the universe, I am here to fulfill my passion, my purpose, and that is to enlighten more than 500 million people. And I always pray, show me how. Show me the next step. And indeed, this can be a baby step. It can be here tonight, being with the wonderful ladies and all of you online and in person, to share about my work. It can be, talking to one person in the grocery store that you help them out when they can't reach something, right? Whatever it is, ask yourself every morning, pray for that, like, show me how I can fulfill my purpose. Yeah? It's a simple question. And another question I ask myself every morning is, God, universe, show me how I can love more. Yeah. How can I love more myself? How can I love more others? How can I spread more love? And if love is kindness, that's the same thing then for you. And we need to ask ourselves these intense questions, because that will help us to lead to purpose and passion and making an impact in the world. So I just invite you to find that out for yourself. And of course we can look at the chaos and the situations that are going on in the world, but ultimately you need to focus on you right now, not in an egoistic way, but in a way like, what can I contribute in a positive way to my family, to my community, to the world. For some of you it will be your family, for some of you it will be your community, for others it will be global. I don't know what it's going to be, but don't hold back, don't hide, just show up.
Wow, so beautiful. Thank you so much, Marie.
Just show up.
Just show up. Well, Marie, it's been such a pleasure to be here with you today, to learn more about your work and to hear you speak more about your home is a vision board. For those of you that have joined us in person, there are copies of Marie's book that can be purchased here at the register, and she will be signing books today, which is such a marvelous treat. We encourage you to stick around, to connect with each other, to meet someone you didn't know. Yes, buy a few for your friends and family. Connect with someone that you don't know while you're here, and encourage you to, the day is still young, right? What is an act of kindness that you can share with the world? But it truly is a phenomenal book. If you haven't read it, I do encourage you, when you do read it, to read it in your home, because you're going to actually want to move some things around. Don't read it on a plane, don't read it on a train, but to really sit in your space and also reflect about your space before you take action to move it. Let go and release what you're removing or adjusting in your space, and welcome what you're about to create with the shifts in the movement that you're doing, and really, nurture that experience. This is a movement to see your vision board in life, in 3D, in person. You're really shifting the way that people connect with their space, but also how they co-create in their life using their space to really be that partner. And so Marie, we thank you for all the work you've done and all the work that you're going to continue to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you to the Los Angeles Tribune for organizing this. It actually was on my vision board in the beginning of the year to speak and to do book signing in the Grove, Barnes and Noble. So thank you for Los Angeles Tribune to make this happen.
Wow, thank you so much, Marie. Appreciate it, and appreciate you all that have joined us here in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing.
All right. We're going to let the book signing begin.
And so for those of you that are looking for a book, as I shared a little bit earlier, the books are at the register. Encourage you to buy one for yourself.